Recording in progress. Okie dokie. Yes, I can talk. Char, you're muted. Yeah, Char, I'm sorry. Yeah, we can't hear.
Oh, you can't hear? Oh dear.
Bless your heart. I
Oh, I
should have
turned
spoken
this
up.
one on. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me go back. I apologize for that. I did the microphone, but I didn't do the one on here. Oh dear. Okay, whatever. All right. Well, I do want to welcome everybody. And I am Char Boshart, speech language pathologist host, and I'm very glad that everybody is here and that you have muted yourselves. I wasn't supposed to, but I want to give you again the disclosures, okay? Financial disclosures. Dr. Roseberry-McKibbin receives royalties from the sale of her books through Amazon and receives an honorarium for this podcast from Speech Therapy PD. And I do too, as well, and the honorarium, as well as my seminars through Speech Therapy PD. And I own Speech Dynamics. And neither of us have any financial disclosures to report. Okay. All right. It is so good to be with everybody. Thank you for your understanding and your patience. It wasn't a glitch. It was just me. I just didn't click on the thing.
Tech
Okay.
is
It was
not
my
perfect.
fault. I know, whatever. I'm just glad that you let me know. Okay. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. The title of this podcast is Collaboration Tips for Caregivers Love Talk Read to Build Speech and Language. And it's sponsored, of course, by Speech Therapy PD. And as we move through, I do want everybody to know that you are more than welcome to participate during our time together. Just type your question or your comment into the chat or into the Q&A, and I'll read it and our guest will respond. All right, so we're on track. Here we go. Celeste Roseberry-McKibbin PhD is the daughter of Baptist missionaries, where she lived with her parents in the Philippines from ages 6 to 17, then relocated to the United States. She quickly acclimated to the culture and then also attended Northwestern University, where she earned her doctorate degree in speech language pathology. Currently, she's a professor of communication sciences and disorders at California State University, Sacramento, and is a part-time speech pathologist in San Juan Unified School District, which I
In
think is
fact,
very cool.
I'll be there tomorrow seeing
Oh, will
kids all
you?
day.
I love it. I love it. I think that's great that you're doing that. And she provides services for preschoolers through high school and especially enjoys working with culturally and linguistically diverse students with communication disorders, as well as students from low-income backgrounds. In addition to her practical experience, she has over 70 publications, written 16 books, and has done almost 400 presentations throughout the United States and internationally. She is an ASHA Fellow and winner of ASHA's Certificate of Recognition for Special Contributions in Multicultural Affairs and received the National Presidential Daily Point of Light Award for her volunteer work in building literacy skills of children in poverty. Notably, she recently gave, and I think this is so cool, she recently gave an amazing TED Talk where she got a standing ovation at the end. And her topic was, is ignoring children for devices creating a language delay? Very interesting, and I'm hoping that we can talk about that a little bit as we go along. This is your second appearance, so I'm going to call you Celeste, okay?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I'm so
okay.
offended, gasp.
All right, a hearty welcome to you, Celeste. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to be talking with you again. And we live on different coasts, but I tell you, if we were living closely, you would be a person that I would just love to sit and go to lunch and pick your brain.
Oh,
You just
100%.
have a great deal
Same to you.
of knowledge. Yes, yes, yes. Well, to get going, I was looking through your book. Okay, one of your books. Okay, I've got it right here. And this is not to tout the book right off the gate, right out of the gate, but at the very top of the book, it says, quick tips for busy caregivers. And I'm thinking, we could probably just get, and it's not a very big book. It's very inviting to sit down and read, very easy to read. And we could probably just give it to people. But
I do.
and I think that's great. But I'm thinking that it would be so good for a speech language pathologist to read that book, to really have a solid sense as to what we can share with our parents of young children. So, but I'm thinking as I'm looking through your book, where did she get all of this information, and how did you first get going with the Love Talk read, and where did all of this come from?
Okay, well, I want to talk about you want me to talk about the book collection or just the book?
No,
right
just
now?
just the whole concept of it.
Okay, well, all right, I started a book collection back in 2008, just to give books to a graduate student for her master's thesis. And so my goal was 500. And 17 years later, we had collected and donated over 356,000 books in the United States and to children in more than 70 countries around the world. So it's really been a wonderful faith-based mission. What really started me, Char, was I grew up, as you just said, in the Philippines. My parents were missionaries, and the kids didn't have any books. And my whole professional life as a speech pathologist, I've worked almost exclusively with children in under-resourced areas. Like I've always worked in Title I schools, and I noticed that the kids really just didn't have anything to read. They were struggling with literacy. So I thought, I really need to start collecting books and just giving them to kids. And so I never knew that it would grow like this, but it's just been such a blessing to be able to, in fact, I was just in there counting books today. To be able to just send books overseas, bring books overseas when I travel, because statistics indicate that in the US, in under-resourced neighborhoods, children who are middle class and above have 13 or more books each. In under-resourced neighborhoods, there's approximately one book for every 300 children. And that really hit me. So I visualize myself as a mother holding, I do have a 28-year-old son who has severe dyslexia. We can talk about that later if you want. But just me standing there holding up Goodnight Moon and a line of 300 children wanting that book. And then I read the statistics that over 70% of America's prisoners can't read above a fourth grade level. And I thought, you know what? The problem of literacy is so multifaceted, but what I can do is collect books and give them to as many under-resourced children as I can. So that's where it's all started. Again, it's faith-based.
Okay.
I can't tell you the number of times I've run out of books completely. And my husband's like, why don't you save some back? And I don't. And I've never in 17 years had to turn anybody away. If you all go to my lovetalkread.com website, there are recommendations for starting your own book drive. It's so rewarding. You know, we argue these days about a lot of stuff in this political climate, but I will tell you, your church, your place of worship, you know, Rotary or whatever, everybody believes in children's books and literacy. So that's kind of how that got started. And then I've been a speech pathologist my whole adult life, over 40 years. And the math is kind of problematic here because I can assure you that I'm not a day over 35.
Oh, that was my
But
guess.
but we'll just deal with it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
having been a speech pathologist for so long, then COVID came. And then after COVID, I was just horrified by the growth in the number of kids who weren't talking. And when they do talk, you can't understand them. So I started really looking into this, and I became so alarmed at the statistics that I thought, you know, I've got to write a book that's user friendly, that, you know, Jane Bag of Donuts with a sixth grade education can pick up, read in an hour, and implement the suggestions right away. And the tips have to be easy to do with no money in any language in any country. So that's
Okay.
how this really got rolling.
Okay. Okay. That's wonderful. I love that. I love that. And it sounds like something that you just had a basic desire and then it just picked up steam as it rolled along and it just grew. That is totally amazing. I'm thrilled and I'm just so honored, to be talking with you. I mean, I love that you did that, is what I'm trying to
Oh,
say.
thank you. It's so
Yeah.
rewarding. You know, my son said, why don't you do more publishing articles in journals, Mom? And, you know, because no one reads them for one. And also
It's
I
probably
really
true.
love, it's funny, I love just physically hauling boxes. It probably means I'm not very smart, but I've driven all over to neighborhoods and just donated books. And it's really, really, it's just very joyful. Yeah. And one more
So how do
time.
you, no, how, if I could interrupt you, I mean, I have this, this sort of Pied Piper type, image in my mind, but I mean, do you have some contacts at the neighborhoods where you go and maybe at their house or a business or something in that particular region, and then like, how do you distribute them?
Okay, that's a good question. I've been asked that a lot. Well, usually requests will come to me, but let's say that right now I'm kind of looking around. I was in the closet today, you know, like I said, counting books, and they're beginning to pile up. So if they begin to pile up, I have agencies and schools that I reach out to locally where I will just, and I could name the schools, it wouldn't mean anything, but yeah, but they're very underserved areas. So I'll call the librarian basically and just say, do
Okay.
you need some books? There is a preschool in a very low income area near the university. I'll probably bring them a bunch of books for Christmas. I also am sending we've sent about 3,000 to Ghana, to Africa. And I need to just create time in my schedule to do that again. So the way that they found me, the speech pathologist in Ghana is Gifty, like gift with a Y. And she found me on Facebook a few years ago and just said, can you send me some books? I'm like, I'd love to, but I can't afford it. So I send the books to her contact, Jewel in Pennsylvania, who somehow
Mm.
affords to send them to Africa. And so we,
Mm.
right now, again, when I get time, I'll probably send a couple of hundred that I've been saving for her.
Wow. Wow.
It's
Wow.
so much
That's
fun. It
amazing.
really is.
Yes. Now, do you get like letters, from the kids or anything?
I
Or,
do. I get
you
little
know,
letters and cards that just make me
love
want to
that.
cry. It's really
Oh,
sweet.
I love that.
And there
Yes.
was something called, anyway, it was a program for prisoners. So we live right near Folsom, and probably everyone's heard of Folsom Prison, very infamous. So there was this program. that ended at COVID, unfortunately. But they would bring mothers and children from Los Angeles up to Northern California, where I'm at in Sacramento. So they would basically ride the bus all night, and it was called Get on the Bus. And then they would come to this one local church where they would get fed breakfast, get to clean up, and then they'd be taken to see their husbands and fathers in prison. So I'll never
Okay.
forget, these two kids came in and they had been on the bus all night again. They saw the food, they were told about the free books. They ran past the food and ran over to the books, laughing and laughing. It just chokes me up. And they just stuffed their bags with as many books as they could. It was one of the best moments of my career. And this one kid,
Mm,
she had never smiled, but she really, I know, it just
yeah,
chokes me up. You
I
know, just
know.
her dad
It
had,
does.
these folks, a lot of them are murderers, honestly. And so anyway, it just, to see them so happy and smiling, just there's nothing like it. You know, money
Yeah.
can't buy that.
No,
Can't buy
no,
that.
definitely, definitely not. Oh, wow. I can't even imagine. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. Okay. Well, let's get into this. So, are there certain ages or populations of anybody that you just zero in on? I mean, I know the populations, the lower um, economic, socioeconomic individuals, but like, do you have books like for very, very young children,
Yeah.
elementary, just across the board, or
Our books are, the book tribe is focused on birth to 10. And the
birth to
reason for
10?
that is
Okay.
that, yeah, we donated a couple of thousand to juvenile hall, but then they said they didn't need any more. And so there's just not a market. We tried skilled nursing facilities. I mean, we really busted our chops. They're not interested in older books, but birth to 10, I really try to focus especially on like ages, I'd say 3 to 5.
Okay.
Or birth to 5, because those are the most vulnerable years, as we all know as speech pathologists, for children's brains forming, developing a strong foundation for literacy. So I say birth to 5 is what I focus mostly on. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good. Good. And then I'm sure that there's, I have here, do you have any qualifications for parents and grandparents? I mean, as far as, um, I mean, I'm concerned that maybe they can't read. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
this is such a good
Um,
question. And
yeah.
I said this in my TEDx talk that, it's just as effective for caregivers to look at books with their kids and talk about the
Okay.
pictures and ask questions.
Okay.
And
Okay.
thank you for asking that, Shar. It's very dear to my heart because like tomorrow, I'll be working in the public schools all day seeing kids for speech. We have a very heavy Russian and very heavy Mexican American population. And a lot of
Wow.
our parents are very insecure about their literacy skills. So it's
Hmm.
really on my heart to tell them that as long as they're turning the pages and talking about the pictures in any language, that is just as
Okay.
good as being able to read the words.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Good. And I know that if parents and kids are reading online,
Oh, yeah.
that yeah, that that works for online book reading as well, to look at the pictures and so on. Yeah.
They could totally do that. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
this is a whole rant on electronic books. And I don't know if we want to go there, but let me just quickly say they
Oh,
could do
sure.
it
Let's go
online.
there.
But there's a lot of research that shows that reading from actual print books is far superior. But I'd rather they read online than not read at all.
At all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Yes, most definitely. Oh, I love it. Well, terrific. All right. So I am going to hold up this book, and I know that you have others, but it is called Love Talk Read to Improve Your Child's Speech and Language. Okay. And it's, I love the way that you've organized it. And, it's just so very easy to read, getting started, what to expect, responding to your child immediately with love and attention. So that gets us into this next question that I have, specifics for implementing the love section. So you have love, talk, read Let's talk about that love piece.
Okay, so our son Mark, and he knows this, was very unexpected, and so I frantically read everything I could, so that I could be the best mother to him. And I was reading, that book probably a lot of us have read, What to Expect When You're Expecting, and it was saying that these researchers had done a huge study, a huge cohort of babies, and they followed the babies into young adulthood, and they were asking what variables in these people's lives had predicted their happiness. And the strongest variable that predicted happiness and a successful life as an adult was the amount of physical affection that they were shown as infants and young children. And
Mhm.
if they were shown a lot of affection, that overcame problems like substance abuse and divorce and poverty. And so when our son was born, I really was very, very affectionate with him. And the big thing, and I don't want to spill over too much, but I think this goes here. So we want to love our babies and our young children with a lot of physical affection, and we want to respond immediately. And this is a big, big thing that I could talk about till midnight, which over the East Coast it probably is. Just kidding. But yeah.
Not quite.
But when we ignore our kids, they don't feel loved. And I've seen babies, like and when I've worked at the food bank and stuff, who are really depressed. So when we love, we need to respond immediately or as fast as we can when they initiate communication, whether they're waving or pointing or making noises. The faster we respond, the more we're going to build their speech and language. And it's important to respond with as much love and affection as we can. Our son, it's interesting. Obviously, we live in Sacramento, California, but when he graduated from high school, he went to school in Washington, D.C., and a lot of his friends went away from home, but a lot of them came back because they just couldn't handle the separation. But I think Mark was so secure because I'd been able to do all the right stuff in terms of responding right away, giving him a lot of affection, that he was able to weather being across the country from us. And then he moved to England for 2 years. And I think that foundation made him very, very secure.
Interesting. Yeah. I remember somewhere in the recesses of my brain, um, it was some kind of a study where they looked at babies where they did not receive any attention, they were not touched, and so on. And they had very difficult, let's say, behaviors
Oh,
and
yeah.
low self-esteem, and they just lacked that love contact.
And
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 so
you
their
can't make
pendulum
up for that
swung.
later in life.
You
Yeah, there's
can't.
a window there. And so
Yes.
yeah, that's why even though I'm a speech pathologist, not a psychologist, I really feel strongly that I want to get it across to parents that we have got to stop ignoring our children for our phones, and we'll talk about that later, and try to respond as soon as possible. Yeah, and I have a lot of luxuries, Char, and I really want to disclose my privileges that allowed me to do this. I have white privilege, socioeconomic privilege, educational privilege, and that enabled me to do what I did with my son. Not everybody has that. So, but even for people who don't have those privileges, anybody anywhere in the world can respond immediately and with love when their children initiate communication.
hmm hmm Most definitely. Most definitely. Yes. Oh, I love that.
And
I
Shar, one
love
more
it.
thing. There's research out of the US and Sweden to show that, okay, so we all know talk to your child, right? A 6-year-old knows that. But what they did is they really studied what was a factor that made children's language improve the fastest. And believe it or not, it wasn't how often the mother initiated. The thing that really built those language skills super quickly was how fast she responded. Again, in the States and Sweden, they found the faster, the more immediate response. Those kids had sky high vocabularies.
Yes, very interesting, huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's called interacting and engagement and establishing that communicative contact that's so very
yes.
important. Yeah, and it just perpetuates it. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, it makes total sense. Yes, totally does. Okay, anything else on love before we move to the talk section?
I don't, Yeah, I don't think so. It's funny. I was so affectionate with Mark when he was a little boy, and when he was 3 and could really comprehend. And I just said, honey, if you it's too many love hugs and kisses, you just say, Mommy, no more hugs, please. And one time he did say that.
One.
So yeah, Mommy, no more hugs, please. I said, thank you for telling me. And so I quit hugging him. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that established your good communication between the two of you.
Oh yeah, we're very
Yeah.
close now. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Great. Okay. Specifics for implementing the talk section. Oh, wait a
Okay.
second. There is a question down here.
Oh,
Okay.
we have how to
Yes, did you
prioritize
see it?
books. Yeah,
Yes.
what a good question. Catherine,
Okay.
what a good
Yeah.
question, like most of the world. I
Okay, read it because it went away on
Oh,
mine.
okay. Do you have any, so Catherine, do you have any suggestions for caregivers with space issues on how to prioritize books? I love it. So many people
There we
can't
go.
afford a big place. You know, Catherine, what I send to Africa and what I used to send to Mexico is paper books. I don't send those like thick cardboard books because those are real space hogs. So I would suggest easy readers like Pete the Cat in paperback. Yeah, because anyone can have like a grocery bag full of paperback books, like in a corner of the kitchen. And I understand not everyone has room for a bookshelf and all that stuff, but paperback books are best for that. Thank you, Catherine. Anybody
Okay,
else have a
good, good.
question?
Yeah, there's Simon, Amy, Simon Weiner, Amy.
Okay, so Amy Simon. So Amy,
Yeah,
thank you. I talk about reading the pictures. So I love that.
I can read that now. Yeah,
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 reading the pictures.
yeah.
I love
Reading the
that, Amy.
pictures.
Thank you for
That's a good
sharing.
phrase. Yeah, I like that. Good,
Because
good.
Amy, do you find that the parents feel, mine do, really inferior about their literacy skills? They're very insecure. My parents are. And Amy, I'd be curious if your parents are the same way, just feeling very insecure about their literacy skills and therefore avoiding books completely.
Probably since she's mentioning to the parents
Yeah,
to read the pictures, I
yeah,
would
okay.
bet,
And Amy,
because
if you come
anybody
in
can
later,
do
that's,
that.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Yeah,
Here she
yeah, yeah.
goes. Yes, my
Okay, Amy,
students often
100%.
have parents who don't read in any language. Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of those, and they have poverty on top of that. So their self-esteem isn't exactly the best. And so that's a big part of my job. And Amy, I assume it's yours too, to really shore up their self-esteem and tell them that they are enough and that reading the pictures is enough. So Abigail, I work with a family right now and the parents can't read. I talk about reading the pictures as well. I like the 100 First Word books. Oh, I love that because they feel more empowered because there aren't big sentences in there. What a
Good
great
idea.
idea.
Good.
Abigail,
Good,
thank you for
good.
sharing that. Love
Hmm.
that.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
100
she's
First Word
working
books.
with a family right now, and the parents cannot read. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, makes
Oh,
sense.
wordless books. I
Wordless
have
books. Oh,
wordless
I
books.
love wordless books.
I love wordless
Yeah,
books. If
there's
we were
some
on
good
Zoom, I
ones.
would run over to my study closet and show you some, but
Yeah.
wordless books are great.
Yeah, I've got a couple over here too. I love them. I love them. Yeah,
You
great.
guys,
Thank you.
are you familiar with Good Dog Carl? I love those Good Dog Carl books. Like
Oh, that sounds
this
familiar.
Rottweiler is left alone to care for a baby while mom goes shopping. Really a good example. But Good Dog Carl, those books are hilarious and kids love them. There's also Fun with Frog and Toad is another good one. So yeah, wordless books. In fact, Catherine, there was a study carried out by Ron Gillum and his associates in Utah, and it was a group of low-income parents. I think some were Spanish speaking, or maybe they all were. And group A was given books with print, and group B was given wordless books. And they video recorded parents reading with children in both situations. And in the wordless book situation, the parents were a lot more animated. They just talked a lot more, they engaged a lot more. And the parents with the
Interesting.
print books were a lot more reserved and didn't talk as much. So yes, you hit the nail right on the head.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I love that. Okay. All right. So talk to me about implementing the talk section. I can
Okay.
only imagine.
So we want to talk during daily routines, and this is the thing that I
Okay.
really try to get across to caregivers, whether it's grandma or an uncle or mom. Most of the research is done on mom, but we know it can be anybody. So um, we need to talk to our kids a lot, and daily routines are a really good time for that. And I talk to families about, during mealtime, bath time, in the car. So really talk with them, and then my favorite thing, this can be done in any language, anywhere in the world with no money, is extensions. And we all have heard about them, but from that junior child language development class, which I do teach. But I want to just remind us of the basics that if a child says something like, Mommy, keys. Oh, yeah, Mommy has a ring of big silver keys to open doors, like the car and the front door. So adding words, and that's the thing I did with my son. He had very severe dyslexia, couldn't read and write for a long time, but I always added extensions. So we live kind of out in the country. And if he said squirrel, squirrel, mommy, squirrel. Yeah, that's a big brown squirrel with a bushy tail running around the tree. And even though his reading and writing were very, very low, my son Mark's verbal skills were absolutely off the charts. I mean, I don't mean to boast about it, but it just works. I gave him a vocabulary test a couple of times, and he was between 5 and 10 years above age level on these standardized tests. I think I gave him like the Peabody and maybe one or two other ones. Put him on a therapist couch as an adult. No, just kidding. But yeah, so extensions are the one thing that I talk about. And then also there's the work of William Fowler, who is very, very famous in child language. And he talked about a technique where we emphasize the key word. So let's say that we want a child to learn the word cow, okay, because we want them to learn farm animals. I see a cow. That cow likes to moo. So really emphasizing the key word over and over that we want them to learn is another favorite of mine. And it's called labeling play. And I did that a lot with my son too.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Keep them coming. What are some other ones
Okay, some other
that
ones.
we may or may not know?
Yeah, and you guys, those of you in the audience, feel free to kind of tap in here in terms of talking to kids. I would love to know what you like to do. So we extend their sentences, and then I think also with talking, we have the labeling play, and we just we can do it during daily routines. It's nice if we can create special times sometimes. I'm the oldest of four. I was born, and my parents were living on $300 a month for a family of six. So I was born, and then Angie was 16 months after me, and 16 months later, the twins. So my parents were very, very poor and had four girls ages 3 and under. And so mom didn't really have time to talk to us individually, but when she was able to talk to us individually, I still remember it, just her taking the time, just me. Obviously, that was 157 years before phones were invented. And so that just if we can if it's possible, I know I work with a lot of single moms. Would you just type into the chat, yes, if a lot of your kids are being raised by grandmas, that's just epidemic in my neighborhood. So yeah, but taking out that special time. And then just try, okay, so
Oh, yeah.
Sarah
Yeah.
S, yes,
Yeah.
Amy,
Everybody. Yes.
Vipa, yeah, pretty much.
Yes. Oh, my. Yes.
Yeah, Sarah,
Yes. I
oh,
also have
Sarah,
a lot of students
wow.
in group
Group
homes.
homes.
Oh,
Okay, that's
wow.
crazy. So I, for 11 years, served teen young men. They were sex offenders and they were out of juvenile hall and they were in group homes. And then I worked at the high security school that they came to every day. So Sarah, wow, that's interesting. Sarah, are they
hmm
foster? Or just, I guess, but yeah, so I have worked with those teen young men. And it's interesting because I won't get too far off tangent here, but, oh, an NPS. Okay, gotcha. A non-public school. Okay, majority are in group homes. Okay, and mine was an NPS as well. I really loved that school. I love my teen young men. It closed during COVID, unfortunately, and I haven't been back, but I really miss that population. But if you look at these teen young men, and just the crimes they've committed. A lot of them were not only not read to or not talked to, but were severely abused. In fact, I stopped reading their files because I would sit there and really cry. I just thought, that's I don't need to know what they did. I don't need to know what they suffered. That's the social worker's job. But it's interesting because again, they all came from backgrounds where they were told they weren't given love, they were ignored, they were abused, and even some of them they didn't have a place to go for Christmas because their families didn't want them. So if I could, and I would just look at them, I would just get a lump in my throat, and I would just think, if I could just turn back the clock and put you where you were loved and responded to, we wouldn't be here, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is very sad. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows where it all comes from? I mean, maybe it
Oh,
was something that happened in their family. Maybe it's the whole financial thing.
yeah. Yeah. A lot of their parents are
Not
in
finding a
prison.
job. There's a lot of reasons and possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Char, the other thing for talking, and it's easy for me to say with my socioeconomic privilege, but um, if the more places we can take our kids, the better. No one can afford the zoo where I am, where I work, but even just kind of walking around the neighborhood, talking about the insects, the flowers, if there's a local park available. So any
Yeah.
kinds of outside experiences. We live about 2 miles away from a fabulous public library. And just to make parents aware that the library is available, when I was in Iowa, I was giving a workshop, and one of the audience members raised her hand and told about an immigrant father who had a coat, and he went into a local public library and was kind of sneaking books out underneath the coat and trying to leave. And she said, "Oh, no, no, for $10, you can get a library card for all year." So I think to encourage parents as much as they can, I know transportation is an issue, but to take their kids places like the local park, like the library, if there's a public swimming pool, all of that will really expand their experiences. There's an old definition of language that I love. Language is a system of symbols or words used to represent concepts that are formed through exposure and experience. So that's what happened during COVID. No one went anywhere, right? Nobody, even the
Hmm.
celebrities and the rich. So I think that's a lot of what we're seeing today. Kids just haven't been anywhere. So post-COVID, if parents can take advantage of free local resources, it's a great way to build vocabulary.
Hmm. Hmm. Definitely, definitely. No, I growing up in Long Beach, we didn't have a whole lot of money. My mother did not drive. We had a tandem bicycle.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, and our two favorite places to go. She loved the nursery, so we would go down there and look at all the different, plants and flowers and so on. And also we went to the library.
Love that. See, I took walks to
And yeah,
the library all the
love it.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and I still remember it. I probably still have my library card somewhere. Knowing my mother, she kept
Probably.
everything.
Well, with
Yeah.
Mark's dyslexia, my son Mark's dyslexia, he hated to read. So I took him to the local library, and luckily there was a therapy dog, and he loved reading to the therapy dog. That was
Oh,
very, very nice. So if our families have access to that kind of thing, I just think it's great.
yes, I do too. I think it is. Now let's move on to the specifics for implementing the read section.
Okay, so we can read pictures as we just said. I think the thing that I like to tell families is even one book a day can make all of the difference. And I remember I was with this, she was a Filipino American immigrant mom. And since I grew up there, obviously, I understand the culture very well. Filipino Americans tend to be very literate with very good English skills, very highly educated. But we know that a lot of our immigrant and refugee parents work a couple of jobs, right? Just to put food on the table. So anyway, her son, I'll call him Antonio. Antonio's language was pretty delayed. He had been exposed to Tagalog, Hiligaynon, and Pampango in the home and didn't really speak anything, even English. So I met with her and she said, I had a lot of time for my daughter, but I don't have any time for Antonio. And I said, you know what? I am a mother. I understand where you're coming from. Could you take 3 minutes and read him one book. I know you're tired, but would that work? And she said, I think I could. So I think, Char, that the answer here is that we just make it easy. Just ask for one book a day. Yeah, just one. And then my son really hated to read because of the dyslexia, so we did the public library. And he really loved funny books. And one of the things I talked about in the TED Talk, and I'll talk about, and I have a second TED Talk booked for 2026. Oh, KK, thank you. I'll grab you in just a sec. In that second TED Talk, I'll talk about it too. But I used to read him Walter the Farting Dog. Now, if you had told me before I had him that I would be reading Walter the Farting Dog and buying the Squeeze toy, which has two soundtracks, if you had told me I would have done that, I would have just smacked you. I'm like, I don't do that. But he loves stuff like that, like Captain Underpants. And Deputy Doo-Doo. Oh my goodness. I really would have slapped you if you told me I'd been reading that. But it was the only way to engage him. He loved Bible stories with bad guys. That's another thing. So I think with reading, and we're all experienced professionals here, but we need to really encourage parents to find books that are funny and with topics kids want to know about. With all of the autism these days, I think, like one of my university students, her daughter loves butterflies. So they do a lot with that. And then when we read with exciting voices. I think that's a big thing I learned. Mark is neurodivergent, my son, and he doesn't mind me talking about it. He has ADHD, dyslexia. And so I had to really, really make a dog and pony show and make it really interesting and fun for him to even sit still to listen to me. So I really read that. Okay, so KK, places to find economic good condition books to donate. Yeah, well, in California, our public libraries have a sale every summer where books are for 25 cents, KK. So that might be another one. Goodwill, but public libraries are great places. Goodwill. KK, if you do have a place, I don't mean to pry, but do you have a place of worship that you go to? Because a lot of times on my website, lovetalkread.com, I have suggestions for like a place of worship, a place where you work. Even I had some students do safe. Oh, awesome. Okay, so KK, yeah, go to my website, and what you do is you have a big marked box, and all the instructions are there. I won't take the time, but the books will pour in. Also, some of my students during COVID did the Nextdoor app on their phones, and they just, kind of texted their neighbors and said, hey, on Saturday, October 12th from 9 to noon, I'm going to be driving around collecting any books you want to get rid of. So please just leave them in paper bags on the driveway. And I had girls collect like a couple of thousand books using the Nextdoor app. So that would be another thing. But yeah, my church has done it. My students who worked at Safeway, they did it there. I had one student say to me, she's Mexican American and the daughter of migrant parents. And she said, Dr. Roseberry, thank you for showing me that I was capable of collecting 3,000 books. And she did. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So
wow.
that
Wow.
helps.
Good
Yeah.
for her. Great.
And just start
Great.
talking
Good
about it. Your
suggestions.
relatives, families, friends, neighbors, people are like, oh, yeah. And here's what I found. People don't want to give their cherished children's books to a faceless organization like Goodwill. They don't want to do that. They want to give them to someone that they know, and they want to know, KK, where the books are going. So I will say to maybe a group of people like the Orangeville Rotary, my husband's in that. So I'll say, these books are going to only Love Preschool on Howe Avenue in West Sac. They're going to, and I will list out the local schools that I'm donating to. And when the people know, your potential donors know where the books are going, hopefully locally to a cause that they care about, books will fly out of their hands and right into your car.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. And she responded.
Oh,
I do
it's
use, yeah.
all about the personal connection. Char knows this. So I have my brochures, and there's a picture of me reading to a child on the front. And I told the photocopy place originally, I said, I don't really need to see my face every time I look at a brochure. And she says, Celeste, if there's a face, I'm going to repeat this. If there's a face to the cause, your donations will skyrocket. One more time, if there's a face to the cause, people will, oh, it's Celeste. Oh, I know that girl. Of course, I trust her and I'm totally going to donate to her.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, KK said, I do use the public library sales as well. Love the idea of Nextdoor app, Safeway, Church, and others. And she gives you a big thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, KK. Yeah,
Yes,
it's so
great.
easy and so much fun. And KK, the best thing I like, okay, so type yes in the chat if you hate paperwork. I hate,
Oh, they're
oh,
going to type multiple yeses for that
yes,
one.
yes, yes. We might burn it up. We might burn up the
Yeah, we
chat.
might be. I might break the
Oh,
whole thing.
Sarah, Teresa,
Yes.
Catherine. Amen
Yeah,
to that.
yeah. Oh,
I guess
yeah.
I can
Laugh out
say
loud.
amen since I'm the daughter of missionaries. Sarah, yes. So
100%.
there's no paperwork involved.
100 yeses.
Okay, Carrie, Teresa, VPod 100. Yeah, I love it. So there's no paperwork here. And people have asked, do I want to become a charitable, like a nonprofit? And the answer is no, 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 no. So you guys, I spend my own money out of my own pocket, and it is a tax deduction. So I do get it as a tax deduction. But we all hate paperwork so much. And so a friend of mine, I just saw him yesterday. He's associate dean now, but he knows me very well. And he says, Celeste, I know you. If you become a charitable organization with, a board and paperwork, he goes, you will hate your life. So you guys, I have no paperwork in this. And no one gets to donate money to me either. And maybe people have faulted me for that, but I don't accept money because I can't give them a receipt. So if you want a happy, easy life like what I have, don't even think about money. Just tell people I can't take money, but I will take your books.
That's rewarding.
It's so
Yes.
rewarding. It's so
I
rewarding. I
love
just
that.
feel
Yes.
joyful every time I go into that book closet and start, sifting through the books and finding Go Dog Go, which I read to my son a lot. It's so nice. One of my colleagues, my work BFF, my work wife, her expertise is adult neuro, but she gives away my books sometimes to our supervisors in the department. And so once in a while she'll find a book that she wants, so she'll bring it to her office. It's kind of cute. I'm glad my son is 28 now because I run across such cool books. I'm like, oh, I'm glad he's too old for me to take this from me.
Oh, good, good. Okay. Um, Tell me about how you share the developmental milestones. I know there's some of that information in there as well, and that's important, but what's your methods?
My methods, well, I did on the TEDx talk just a little bit. A lot of times I'll tell parents, I find, and type yes if you found this, that if I can hand parents a brochure from ASHA, they believe it in print a lot more than they believe it if I just tell them. So that's why in my Love Talk Read book that Char told you about, it is in there. So do you want me to just run through a very basic list real quick, Char, of the milestones from birth to 3?
Sure.
Okay, so you all, I know we all know this, but I'm so angry at the Center for Disease Control for changing up the milestones to say that kids have to be older to meet those milestones. I think they're fixing that, but we know that at 12 months of age, a baby should say their first word. At 15 months of age or 18 months of age, they should be saying 50 words and putting 2 words together. At the age of 2, they should be saying 2 to 300 words. And at the age of 3, they should be saying 900 to 1,000 words and talking mostly in short sentences. So I really try to convey that to parents either by giving away my book. I give away my books. I mean, I'm blessed with 2 jobs. What can I say? So I give away my books. So sure, I put it in the book, and sometimes I'll tell them, or I'll have maybe a brochure from ASHA to let them know, or I'll give them a website. There's lots of websites out there with the milestones, but I feel like one of my big kind of beefs is one of my big rants is that a lot of times pediatricians, especially in bilingual homes, will tell parents, oh, your child is confused because there's 2 languages. Your child is going to outgrow it. Nothing keeps me awake at night like that. So Sarah, I just had this conversation with my son's PT. She's upset about what they did for what they did for gross motor. I'm upset about that. Dude, I didn't know they did that for gross motor. Wow, okay. I'm so upset about the speech ones. I just want to, I don't know, fly around the country and yell at people. Oh, no, Sarah, they got rid of crawling as a
They got rid
milestone.
of
Now I'm really going
crawling?
to fly
They
around.
got rid of crawling? How can
What?
you get rid of crawling?
Sarah, that's just crazy. I'm going to fly around the world and yell at people. Or I'm going to stand
I'll
here
go
in the
with
comfort of
you.
my home and yell at people around the world. No,
That's ridiculous.
I can't wait to tell my students that at
Oh,
the
I'm going to have to
university.
look that up.
I'm going to have to look. So, Sarah, do you know at what age should they take their first step? What is CDC saying now? And I'll keep talking while we wait. I know
Okay,
that there's a bit
yes,
of a
yeah.
lag here, and we're kind of on a time crunch, but that's
Okay, I
insane. They just,
believe my PT
oh
said they changed
no,
to 18 months instead of
18
a
months?
year. 18 months?
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Sarah, thank you for telling me
Oh
that.
my
I really appreciate
gosh.
that because I
Oh,
do
thank you
teach
for
child
sharing.
language. This is so fascinating. So I'm going to tell all my
Oh, that's
classes.
awful. That's awful. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up
Oh, me
and
too.
talk about that. Yeah, no,
That's
that's wrong.
crazy.
That's all kinds of wrong.
Yeah, they just don't want to pay for the therapy. Okay, so Megan, my daughter's a
Uh,
PT grad. Oh, the crawling was removed as not all
Crawling
children
was
crawl before
removed.
they
No
walk.
children.
That's just crazy. Thank you, Megan.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Yeah,
So all
thank
of
you.
us are now leaving angry. No, just teasing.
Yeah.
We'll end on a positive note, I promise. I won't
Okay,
go to bed thinking,
well, speaking of angry, tell me about the phones. I know, I mean, I loved your TED Talk, but it
thank
was
you.
primarily about the phones and about the lack of interaction and so on. So give us some of that. We've got about 10, 12 minutes here.
Okay.
If you want to continue on developmental milestones, that's fine.
No, that's
Or
about
if
all I
you'd like
wanted to
to move,
say.
okay, then let's move into your phone information if you would.
Okay, absolutely. Before that, Abigail, I was talking about this today with another SLP. Her
Hmm.
pediatrician told her as long as her 18-month-old had 5 words, that was enough.
Five words at
Oh,
18 months?
my gosh. You know what, Char, I will jump right into that, but I am going to take a picture of that. I know that the transcript is available, but that's just
Wow.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So speaking
Yes, it
of phones,
is.
all right. So
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
huge rant about phones, and my original title for my TEDx talk was "The Phone to Prison Pipeline: Why Ignoring Our Children for Our Devices is Endangering Our Future." And then they objected to that and changed it to something much more tame. But you will here it
Too
is.
bad.
So everywhere, because as I said, I travel a lot. I'm privileged to go around the world. All these parents are glued to their phones and they're ignoring their children. So on the TEDx talk, I tell the story. It was 2018, actually. It was before 2017, before COVID. And I'm eating lunch at Denny's, and I look over, and there's this little child, I guess he was about 2, in a high chair, and both parents were scrolling. So as I munched on my Caesar salad, I kind of watched the little boy dropped his paper and crayons on the floor of Denny's, and he made about seven or eight bids to get his parents' attention to retrieve them for him. And the mom finally stopped scrolling, looked over and said, "Oh, you'll be okay," and went right back to her phone. And so that little boy learned that the devices in his parents' hands were more important than he was. I can
Yeah.
promise you, friends, I know you're sophisticated clinicians and you know this, but we are. Oh, I'm so worried. We're creating a generation of children that aren't talking and therefore won't read and write well. And what are they going to do as adults? So I am a big rant of mine is just helping parents understand that ignoring our children for our phones is not innocuous. It's not. I mean, it happens once in a while, but if we don't stop ignoring our kids for our phones, think about 20 years from now. What are we going to have? A society of people who are low literacy, can't get good jobs. And I think we could see a real increase of crime, homelessness, unemployment. It's just, I know I'm being dramatic, but I feel this strongly. That's why I did the TED Talk, because I wanted to really convey this. So what I think we can do for these young parents, for any parents or caregivers, is just say, hey, we all need our phones, but what if you responded as fast as you could? Or what if we just took 15 minutes a day, just 15 minutes or 30 minutes to put our devices away and really devote ourselves to our children. And I think we need to really challenge people and let them know that this, again, this is not innocuous when we ignore our children. Sometimes you can't help it, but as much to the extent possible, if our child is trying to get our attention, get off our phone. One more. Mark was a teenager and we were at Kaiser. I think he was sick, obviously. Mom in the waiting room, two little kids looking at the aquarium, and in the little in the stroller, there was a baby. The baby, I'm guessing, was about 8 months old. And he kept looking around the waiting room, trying to get someone to interact with them. Mom was ignoring him for her phone. And my son waved at him and smiled. And that baby lit up like a Christmas tree. And I'll never forget, he was just hungry. Our kids are hungry for us to get off our devices and look them in the eye and really, really see them and talk with them and love them and hold them.
Yeah, yeah, that's the love piece.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Well, what about, um, at one point in time, I was going through a catalog and I saw a stroller that had a holder for the baby, the infant, the
Yep.
toddler, that would carry like an iPad or something.
Oh yeah. I see
Yeah,
them all the time at airports. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on, like how young, what should parents do there for the
Well, okay, I'm
children
glad
and
you
their
asked
phones and
because so the American
iPads?
Academy of Pediatricians says that before the age of 2, no screen time except for Skyping with grandma. Okay, so literally that's a title of one of my
Yeah.
chapters in my little book, Love Talk Read. So yeah, I think we should keep our kids off of devices as much as we can. Um, or or even having a sacred time where phones aren't allowed. For example, during family dinners, my husband and I put our phones somewhere else so we're not tempted to respond to text immediately. Amen. And turn off that sound alert too. I
Yes,
love that. Yeah.
yes,
So just have
yes.
phone-free zones. That's all we
Hmm.
ask.
Yes. Well, and there's another one right above there by Abigail. I was talking about this today with another SLP. Her pediatrician told
Oh
her as
yeah.
long as her 18-month-old had 5 words over back, that was enough. It's so upsetting that it's misinformation. And I'm thinking too that I know, I did a little bit of research as far as the phones and the iPads with the young children and so on, and that pediatricians were pretty much supporting that. But I am really surprised that pediatricians would support 18 months, 5 words.
That's just, in
Um,
fact, Char, I took a picture of that because I'm going to share it with my classes. That is so upsetting.
yeah, it
So
totally
Abigail,
is.
yeah.
It totally is. And I'm wondering, do you think, Celeste, that maybe this preponderance of parents and caregivers and so on, we're so focused with our technology? And I've got my phone right here.
Oh,
I'm
yes, you know it.
yeah, I'm there. I understand. Um, but do you think it's having some kind of an impact on our kids' development? I mean, is that
Oh,
where the
yes.
5 words at 18 months is coming from, or at least
Oh,
part of it?
yeah. Yeah, no one's talking to him. And they give up. Like that little boy in Las Vegas at the Denny's, he learned that, when I try to communicate, no one cares. My parents' phones are more important to them than I am, 100%. Yeah. And so they shut down. And what I explain to lay people is what we all know, that in the ice cream cone of communication, the cone is talking and literacy is the ice cream. And if you have a crumbly cone, you can't put ice cream on it. It's going to go everywhere. Okay. Oh my gosh, Carrie. Okay. I can't tell you how many toddler parents I have who boast about their child's ability to navigate their device independently. Oh, it's like, Carrie, seriously, it's like they feel like they're doing their kids a favor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That is very,
100%.
very true. Very true. Yeah. But, what 18-month-old child is not going to be enthralled with the colors and the movements? And hey, this thing responds to me. It sings to me. I see cute little cartoons on there. No wonder it's captivating.
Oh, you guys go onto TikTok and there are some videos that are scary of parents taking a phone out of a baby's hand, out of a toddler's hands, and they just tantrum and their bodies stiffen. They're physically addicted to it. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
frightening. Yeah.
Oh, I have seen that on the plane where the kids are just sitting there. And I mean, I remember this child had to be 2.5, maybe 3, just sat there with the iPad, just, totally enthralled. And then the mom said, okay, time to put it away. And the kids screamed. And, you're really not going to let your kids scream if you're on the plane. Gave it right back and had it the entire time. I
Wow,
mean, that's
that's
what
just
happens.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Abigail, I've had parents tell me their child's favorite toy is an iPad. Have you seen that book, Goodnight iPad, as a spoof on
No.
Goodnight Moon? And then Sarah.
Oh,
I think
I'll look
doctors
at
are
that one.
amazing. They aren't the experts on communication and motor. My son's doctor said he didn't need PT. I knew he did. I got an eval. PT agreed with me. Comprehensive evals for all children. Yes, very, very briefly. My son, I knew that there were things going on with him in gross and fine motor. Oh, no, 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 you're a helicopter mom. Took him to an OT, pediatrician. Oh, no, no, he's fine. Took him to an OT. He was in the first percentile for fine and visual motor. No wonder he almost failed kindergarten. And by the way, because of just the blessings that we received, he did get a Master of Philosophy from Oxford. And I implemented a lot of the techniques that I'm sharing with you. Yeah, just so here he
Oh,
is, and we're very blessed and fortunate in that.
yes. And he is very blessed and fortunate. Yes, definitely. I love it. Well, Celeste, I'm enthralled with you and all that you have done and your dedication to Love Talk Read and everything
Thank
else. So
you.
I just appreciate your expertise and your ideas and for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. I totally appreciate it. And I know a lot of us do. But in closing, I want to thank everybody here, all of you, for tuning in and for continuing to get the word out about the SpeechLink podcast. And in a few days, you'll be able to access this course through SpeechTherapyPD.com again, and you'll be able to watch it again if you want to, if you so desire, or just access the audio version. We're on most popular podcast apps. Thank you so much for your
And
supportive
KK,
comments and
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
I'm
everything your questions, your comments, your good information. Appreciate you all typing into the chat and the comments there. Thank you so much.
thank
And
you all. Thank you for
yeah,
taking valuable time out of your schedules to be
yes,
with us.
yes, yes, very much. Thank you so much. And thank you for all that you do for your therapy clients and have a
Thank you,
wonderfully
Kimberly.
blessed holiday season. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
God
you.
bless you guys. Thank you so
Yes, God
much.
bless. See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Happy
Thank you.
holidays.